Okay, very good. We're recording the session. Fine. This is where we stopped. In case you didn't attend, what are we talking about? We actually finished 2 lessons, year 9 and 10. These 2 lessons are ecology. These 2 lessons are ecology. They are talking about the human impact on the environment. In other words, how do we pollute our environment and how do we fix what we've done? Like we've done a lot of damage. So this is actually what we have been talking about. This is what we were talking about in the online. How did we cause pollution? Because we caused a lot of pollution. Okay, and then we ruined everything. Now, so we caused a lot of pollution. If you attended, I don't know where were you. We caused pollution to the land. We caused pollution. Lama, remove your phone, to the water. We caused pollution to the air. If you had attended, now we are here, which is conservation. Now, conservation, the name speaks for itself. In other words, how do we protect our land? How do we protect our endangered species? How do we prevent or reduce pollution, Omar? Okay. Now, first, we will start with government rules. Government rules, in other words, the government is going to set out rules in order to protect our earth. And these rules are called stewardship. Okay, these are the problem. Yes, they look boring and they look very easy, but these are essay questions. How can the government or how can we do conservation? It's called conservation. Number 1, we will create a set of government rules, you can see. And you need to give examples. Number 1, something called banning hunting. I think this is very obvious. You have, let's say, 3-4 elephants, and we are killing the elephants because of their horns. We will ban their hunting. If you go and hunt an elephant, you will be charged by the government. The government is going to make you pay a fine or take you to jail. So these are rules, government rules. A lot of governments, they protect their earth because we want to save our earth. We want to save the remaining, like in Australia, you're not allowed to kill koalas or kill pandas. You know that? If you do, you will get jailed because this is conservation. And something called fishing quota, we'll talk about it in detail. Something else, something called captive breeding. What is captive breeding? From the name, you will captivate an animal. But do we captivate this animal so that we torture him or so that we take good care of him? Exactly. Captive breeding, the name speaks for itself. We will captivate rare species so that we provide them with services. We give them food, we give them shelter, we give them water, we give them medical service so that they breed. Like, for example, koala again. I'm going to take the koalas and put them in a nice koala zoo, and I will take good care of the koala. So I'm not going to captivate the koala to kill it. I will captivate the koala to breed it, to help it breed so it does not go extinct. Clear? Good. Now, educating people, like what is happening here in class. We are educating ourselves that we have to conserve endangered species so that we do not affect our biodiversity and hurt our earth. So we want to take good care of our earth. Preserving endangered species, like we just said, and something called seed banks. And this is the core. When we go to the supplement, we'll take the same objective and we will add to it that we will use artificial insemination and in vitro fertilization. This is used again and referred to again in this lesson. We'll go back to it. And recycling, like recycling plastics, recycling aluminum foil. Lama, I'll take your phone. Recycling, reusing, etc., etc. So how to conserve a resource? We will reduce using it, like be careful when you use the water, don't overuse it, reuse and recycle. So anything hard about that? Okay, conservation, no. Good. Now this is important and very common, sustainable ecosystem. First, the word sustainable is very important and it is repeated a lot. Sustainable means to take care of. We want to take care of a particular ecosystem. Some ecosystems, they take care of themselves. Some systems, Lama, need our intervention. Okay, so a sustainable ecosystem, this is the definition that you need to memorize, Omar. It is a self-sustainable ecosystem. In other words, it's an ecosystem that is taking care of itself. You don't need any external intervention. Like this picture. This picture I got from an exam. You have here ducks. These ducks are excreting, and the excretion of the ducks is food for the fish, and the fish is providing food for the people on land, and the trees are taking water from the nearby river. So this is a sustainable ecosystem. In other words, it is going to be sustained. It's going to be just fine if there is no external intervention. It doesn't need any help from your side. You are not supposed to give it fertilizers or interfere or anything, like a forest, like a jungle. It is sustained on its own. This is the word sustainable, because you will hear it a lot. You will see it a lot in paper 4. So a sustainable ecosystem is an ecosystem that can take care of itself. Let's read together. It's a self-sustainable ecosystem that is able to support itself without any outside assistance or external resources. An ideal sustainable ecosystem, everything is already provided inside this ecosystem. It does not need any external help, okay? In this ecosystem, nutrients or the resources are recycled, and waste from one organism is used as food for another organism, like the ducks. The ducks are excreting in the river, and this excretion is food for the fish, is food for the plant, so it does not need any external help. This is the word sustainable, okay? Now, after they understood what a sustainable ecosystem means, governments, they want to create something called a sustainable government or a sustainable development. Now, this is very common. What is a sustainable development? It's all summarized in this picture. This is a forest. You know that we have in Egypt some areas where you are not allowed to hunt, you're not allowed to cut down trees, mahmiya, okay? So the government set out rules. You're not allowed to cut down trees. Now, what does the government do? Number one, because these are examples that you can write down in your answer, the government can monitor and supervise that this piece of land, you don't touch it. You're not allowed to have picnics. No cars are allowed in this area because we have fumes from the cars that is going to pollute the area. We don't want to pollute the area. This is a sustainable development, a sustainable government, a government that is going to create rules to sustain this preserved area, okay? Another example, only old trees are cut down. You're not allowed to cut down baby trees. Why? To give them a chance to grow, okay? We will only cut down old trees. New trees are replanted. If I'll cut down a tree, you are by law forced to replant another tree, something else. Only young trees are protected. Only the old trees are cut down, and the tourists are guided. You're not allowed to walk here. You're not allowed to drive with your car here, because this is a preserved area and we want to take good care of it. This is a sustainable government, a government that is taking care of the current resources, using the current resources wisely, so that it is preserving the current resources for the future generations. I don't know if you took the core, but the word sustainable was very common in paper 3. Sustainable development is defined as development, in other words, a government that is providing for the needs of an increasing human population, but without harming the environment. A government, like we have a ministry of, I don't know what is it called, a ministry of وزارة البيئة. Yes, I don't know what it's called in English. The ministry of, I don't know what. This ministry, its function is to preserve the current resources and to preserve the current supplies that we have and to prevent pollution. We will provide the needs of our population, but at the same time, we will make sure that we are preserving what we have. If we cut down a tree, we will replant another tree. And we will talk about the fishing quotas in detail. People must try to sustain. Sustain means to take care of, because the word sustain is mentioned several times in the syllabus. If I want to understand the word sustain, just replace it with the word to take care of. I want to take care of my current resources. I want to make sure that the resources I have will not finish, and I have some resources for the future generations. I want to reduce pollution. This is an objective on its own. So the people must sustain or take care of resources without causing any harm to the environment. Examples, we need to provide alternatives for energy production. This is something our government is currently working very hard on, which is to use renewable resources instead of the non-renewable, okay? Why? Because we don't want our non-renewable to finish, or they will finish soon. And utilize renewable resources more to preserve the non-renewable and to reduce pollution. Example, sustaining forests and fish stocks. We will talk about fish stocks in detail so they do not run out in the future. Anything hard in what I'm saying? Okay? Sustain. To sustain means to take care of our current resources and take care of the future resources. How? We will give examples. Now, this A lot of the water treatment has been removed because in the previous syllabus, you used to study the steps of water treatment, adding chlorine and heating and filtration, blah, blah, blah. This has been removed. The only part that was remaining, or that is remaining, is why do we clean our water before we drink it? Without reading, why do we wash or clean our sewage before we throw it back to the river? Exactly, avoid contamination of water, because contamination of water will cause what? Will cause cholera, spread of disease, it will kill the plants, it's going to kill a lot of people. So we have to keep our water clean. Why? This can be a question out of 3-4 marks. It's a waste not answering it. The importance of sewage treatment, so that the water is not polluted, so it's safe for drinking, to prevent the spread of disease such as cholera and typhoid, to prevent the release of bad odor from untreated sewage, to protect aquatic plants, because it will not only kill you, it will kill the plants and it will kill the fish. To prevent eutrophication. Eutrophication is very important. I explained it in detail in the online. You did not attend the online, you missed it. To be safe for irrigation, so that I can use it to water plants. Now this is no sewage treatment. This, number one, cholera. It will kill children, it will cause dehydration, it will kill the plants and kill the fish and cause eutrophication. Okay? Endangered species. The same idea for sustaining the development. What are endangered species from the name? What is an endangered species? A species that is very good. It's about to extinct. Now, why? And how do, or and what do we do to protect? Why? Because we are overhunting, because of the global